Hello out there. It's your boy Ant Mo. Anthony Moore for those of you who may not know for sure. And welcome to the Mind of a Man Network. And more importantly, welcome to You Gonna Get These Sports, bruh. If you're a first time listener, you come on back round now. You hear you show them boys how you doing up in Harlem there, boy. And if you are a part of the faithful few, I love you from the bottom of this beating corazon. That's heart in Spanish for those of you who may be wondering. But listen, man, I'm sorry for the long wait here, but you still gonna get these sports, bro. Now, if you are wondering, what is you gonna get these sports, bro? I'm glad you asked. So, welcome to You Gonna Get These Sports, bro. We speak for the anti-fanatic fan. We call it like we see it and worry about the consequences on the bike end. Hot takes are only hot takes if they are wrong. If they right, then we just know what we talking about. We are loyal to who is loyal to us. And fandom is not given, it is earned. But either way, you're going to get these sports, bruh. You feel me? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're far too kind. Now, listen, like I said before, I am your host, Anthony Moore, and Mo, for those of you who may know for sure. And I love y'all a lot because this is like a 15-hour day for me so far. And we're going to keep it going. We're going to give you a good show. We're not going to let anything stop us from keeping that energy on a whole nother level. You feel me? All right. So with that being said, if you have seen this thumbnail, you're in the right place. Big Hurt, Jalen Hurts, has yet again shown us that he is who we thought he was. Now, if you want to crown him, then crown his ass. Shout out to anybody who knows about that famous rant. But he was who we thought he was. His coach, his star-studded receiver, all of these things are a product of not having a run game. You successfully ran your running back into the ground at the Super Bowl and that whole Super Bowl season. Congratulations, because if you can't get another guy in there, and if you can't get a better quarterback to be able to decipher what route trees look like and actually get it to good receivers, none of these things matter. So with that being said, let's check out the comments real quick. You feel me? Let's start from the top, even though we know Drake said we started from the bottom. Now we're here. We got that boy Randy C. Mays in the building, said, yes, sir. In the building, straight from the egg. Smash that like. Smash that share, you feel me? And make sure you smash that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell, because we want you to know every time we got something going on the network. You feel me? And then he said, drop your city in the chat below. You know what I'm saying? Let us know where you from. Are you an Eagles fan? Are you an Eagles hater? Are you a part of the NFC East? I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. I'm going to let you know now. But I do call it like I see it. It is what it is. So drop your city in the chat. Let us know where you're from. And then, of course, we got Ms. Reese on the phone today. Maybe you're always on the phone. But she's a part of the faithful few. I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. Hey. But listen, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about these Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. Let's talk about A.J. Brown. And let's talk about Nick Sirianni. So this season is successfully over for your Philadelphia Eagles. They take a loss in the wild card round of the playoffs. And I got to be honest with you. Does my heart happy? Does my heart really good? I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you're an Eagles fan. If you butt hurt, it is what it is. We good. You feel me? You guys, I can't say what you should or shouldn't have done, right? Like most fans, you know, like I said, we are anti-fanatic over here, meaning we are not blind to the fact of anything that may be wrong with our teams. We're not blind to the fact of deficiencies, right? Whether that be coaching, quarterback play, etc. Okay? If any of you are Cowboys fans and you have watched what this team has become over the year, you know, the ups and downs, how Jerry sold us a bill of goods that was pretty bad, then you understand that we can't continue to make excuses for not winning over the past 30 years, right? So when we look at the Eagles, what can I say? Jeffrey Lurie, you are a fantastic general manager. And for all intents and purposes, you appear to be one of the greatest GMs we've ever seen. To be able to go through a few different iterations of quarterback to always find a way to make yourself relevant in the draft. I mean, getting Jalen Carter and then going in and getting Nolan Smith. I mean, all of these things that you seem to do. Cooper DeJean, first team All Pro, even though we toasted him. That's neither here nor there. Listen, this team is not short of the ability to win. My question to you is this: who is, in fact, the blame for the Philadelphia Eagles' quick, swift, and early exit from the playoffs? Is it Nick Sirianni's fault? Is it Jalen Hurts' fault? Is it A.J. Brown's fault? Or is it a mix, an amalgamation, as I like to use my words? Is it an amalgamation of all of those things? Now, this is what I will let you know. If you look, here's a stat, and please put this in the chat. If you know football, if you understand anything about your Philadelphia Eagles, if you understand anything about the quarterback position, how certain quarterbacks are successful and how some fail. If I said one, maybe two stats, could you tell me, if you could guess, if the Eagles won or lost a game, any game? If I said they played 18 games, which is essentially what happened, right? 18 games, 17-week season, regular season, and then they played in the wild card, right? If I said, can you guess the stat that determined this game? Could you tell me what it is? Put it below in the chat. Because I didn't even put down what Jalen stats. That's what he's devoid of. Jalen Hurts stats. What I put down was two things. Two things and two things only. He threw the ball 35 times. If we were being honest, if we looked at Jalen Hurts in his career, if they would be more likely to win if he ran the ball 35 times than thrown the ball 35 times. This is a powerful kid. He's a great kid for all intents and purposes. Not to say he's like super, like he's 18 years old or anything. I'm just an old man. But he's a great kid. Married, shows up the right way, coach's kid, leader for all intents and purposes in certain arenas, whether we talking about in the locker room or in the weight room. That's a whole different story, right? The only guy that I know that can actually squat was Saquon Barkley. So those things are all great, right? But when it comes to the quarterback position, Jalen Hurts should never, and I repeat, should never have to throw the ball 35 times. In 35 attempts, he threw for less than 200 yards passing. That is atrocious if I've ever heard a stat from a quarterback in the National Football League. We know what his route tree consists of. It is a deep ball, which he is actually pretty proficient at, and a slant. That's what he's good at. The first read, being able to see the slant man, put the ball on the money, or throwing the ball deep down the field to A.J. Brown and sometimes the other receiver. But Jalen Hurts, and I repeat this again, should never be throwing the ball 35 times in a game. Now, I've seen a report today that said he did not endorse the offensive coordinator, and he shouldn't. But let's be real here. There was a big fuss right before Jalen Hurts went on his run to make it to his first Super Bowl appearance that he had been working on his craft and that he wasn't just a runner of the football. Of course, he was able to inherit this team pretty easily because the quarterback position for them was sorely lacking. So whether you're talking about a Nick Folk or who was the other guy that got hurt that was from North Dakota State, whatever his name was, he should have won MVP, tore his knee up. Nick Foles goes on a run like crazy. They win the Super Bowl. That team's never the same. Jalen Hurts gets drafted, and he inherits that team pretty easily. So I would argue with you. And before we get into that, hold on, let me go back and say, why don't I own a team? Because I'm waiting for you to fund me, my boy. Don't be a don't be a wisecrack. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a wisecrack. You tell me why you don't own a team. But anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by the Silver Wanderer. Anyway, so here's the reality. Everybody played their part in that game being what it was. Everybody. The reality is that the Eagles were a dead team walking a long time ago. Right? All the things that happen on this team, and as a fellow lover of the NFC East, I pay attention to what everybody has going on. Dallas Cowboys fan. The Eagles were a dead team walking. A.J. Brown sitting on the sideline last year reading books and all of that. It was all cute. It was all fun and dandy until it turns into all of these blow-ups and, more shenanigans, going on podcasts, talking about how he should get dropped. And then when you actually get him the ball and he has great numbers, which means that Jalen Hurts has to throw the ball more, they lose. This is a team that is predicated on the run first and foremost. Run the ball, make the game ugly, muddy, push it a few times. What are the Eagles going to look like if the league decides to get rid of the push after this year? Is anybody asking that question? I'm just saying. That team looks completely different with those guards false starting almost every time they do it. And if they can no longer do any of that as a team, what does that offense actually look like? So what nobody wants to say or admit is that he got outplayed by Brock Purdy. Now, I'll tell you his stat line, because according to the Cam Newtons of the world, he's been a glorified game manager, right? Brock Purdy's stat line, 18 of 31. And I'm not saying this is amazing by any stretch. I'm just saying that per the numbers, it's just better than Jalen Hurts. 18 for 31, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now, Brock Purdy, if anything, being a game manager, rightfully so at a certain point, when you have an embarrassment of riches, just don't give the ball away. Just don't put your team in a position to lose. Injuries have derailed the San Francisco 49ers for years. Probably the main reason why they haven't went to many more Super Bowls or actually won one. But just if you were wondering, Jalen Hurts, QBR 40. 40. So, A.J. Brown has done a very good job. What up, David Rodriguez? What's going on, my guy? Make sure y'all hit that like button so we can get fellow-minded people in here to talk about this Eagles demise and this Packers collapse, because we will be talking Packers a little later on. We will get into the playoff picture as we see it now. And I want to kind of talk about George Pickens being snubbed for the first team All-Pro team. So, yeah. But anyway, A.J. Brown. It's amazing how he did all the complaining. They had private meetings. He talked with the owner. And when he got the ball more, they actually lost. When Jalen Hurts throws the ball over a certain amount of times, this team loses. It's just a fact. You have truly, this isn't a knock to anybody else. It is what it is. You truly have a glorified running back that can throw a spiral in Jalen Hurts. I apologize to Rain Dakota Prescott for ever saying that Jalen Hurts was a flat-out better quarterback than you. I was hurt. I was mad. My soul burned within me for the mediocrity that the Cowboys have displayed over the years. But the reality is, Jalen Hurts, as a pure quarterback, passer of the ball, cannot hold a candle to one Rayne Dakota Prescott in his 10th year. That is showing that he has the staying power and ability to maybe not get better, but to execute at a consistent level. Jalen Hurts. Was it Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni's fault? What is the main reason that this team is inept? Here's the reality. There was talks all year about the offensive coordinator not cutting the mustard. People not understanding the flow of the game. The other reality, no, it's not AI. I'm a real person. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and tune in for the show, my guy. No AI over here. But anyway, AI can't do that. It'd be something funny with them elbows and them fingers on that AI, kinfolk. Anyway, but yeah, this team wins a certain way. The Philadelphia Eagles we're talking about. And they truly have a glorified running back. The guy's elite. Here's the thing that I've said all year. And I've not heard many people say this, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. Y'all can have it, kinfolk. This is free. This is public domain at this point. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, up until this point in their careers, have been so successful because they are truly the best at situational football. When you give them down and distance to go, game on the line, 2-minute drill, we need this play. There's been nobody better in the NFL than Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. And therefore, we've seen them in multiple Super Bowls. We've seen Patrick Mahomes win multiple Super Bowls. Now, he's an elite arm talent for sure. But situationally, above the ears, great at situational football. Now, who isn't good at that? And the difference between these two quarterbacks and these two coaches is only one of those coaches is also great between the ears. Nick Sirianni is a nincompoop. He embodies what the Philadelphia fandom and what that whole city represents. Just a bunch of vibrato and garbage and, yelling and smugness and pride and arrogance and ego. That's what that city and that team represents. And that's fine. Because if you win, it doesn't matter. But the Philadelphia Eagles are in grave trouble. Because the system truly works the best when they are using it where the running back is running 80% of the time, Jalen Hurts is running 20% of the time, and they throwing it whatever the other percentage is. And yes, I understand what the percentage was. You lost to a severely battered 49ers team at home. Do I have that right? They lost at home at the amazing Lincoln Field. We knew this was coming. It was only a matter of time. The Philadelphia Eagles are not a good team. They just are able to play their brand of football a little bit better than everybody else at times. Not a good team, though. It's like having Michael Vick back in the day. His teams weren't good. He just did what he did really well, and that equaled success. But when it got to the playoffs, when it got to crunch time, you can key in a little bit, or you just put up so many points that they can't keep up. This Eagles team going to give you about 20 points a game, if that. They are the epitome of smash mouth football. That's it. Dallas Goedert is going to be your most consistent player. That's the Eagles. But when Saquon wasn't breaking long runs like he did last year, late in games and in the playoffs. People forget, and oh, how quickly we forget that last year, a lot of those games looked like the Eagles were blowing teams out because once teams got tired, Saquon's busting one for 60 yards. And once you do that twice in a game, now the yards are piling up. Now, mind you, I still believe, and this is why you got to go with your gut. I personally believe they still should have went for that record with him last year. Yes, you got a Super Bowl. I'm happy. I'm not happy. Screw the Eagles. But what I'm saying is, cool, you got that's legacy. Getting a ring as a team, that's legacy. But you know what else is legacy? Breaking a rushing record that hasn't been touched for a very long time. Single season rushing record. That matters. That's something that also puts you into the Hall of Fame. If we could be honest, before this season, nobody was talking about if Saquon Barkley was a Hall of Famer. Injury prone, yes. Full of talent, absolutely. Not a Hall of Famer. You break the single season rushing record. You lead the league in rushing. You also win a Super Bowl. Now we're talking different. See, we can talk about legacy and he can be selfless all he wants to. But at the end of the day, you're hoping to have the longevity. What if last season was the best he'll ever be? We all seen the run, turn around, open your legs, spread your eagle, all that. We seen that. Awesome stuff. But running backs don't have long careers, especially in today's NFL. 4 or 5 years tops. He spent most of his career with the Giants hurt. So what does that mean for the Eagles moving forward? What does that mean for Jalen Hurts? What does that mean for A.J. Brown, who could very well be, this could have been his last game as an Eagle? Because I don't care how talented you are, nobody wants to deal with the guy who's constantly complaining on the sideline. Diva receivers have been around since the beginning of time, and they also get traded after antics like we've seen from him all season. Because see, after you go talk to the owner, if you're A.J. Brown, if you're that ownership group, we only got one talk in us. And then we got a decision to make. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go with my Super Bowl winning quarterback. Because the reality is Super Bowls are going to be won or lost on the back of a quarterback. Even if it's the wrong decision, shout out to Russell Wilson. So, A.J. Brown, when it mattered most, you were dropping balls, buddy. And this is why it's okay to complain. It's okay to complain, and we'll move on here really quickly because we've been talking about Eagles far too long for my liking. But you got to be able to take your medicine. You got to take the crooked with the straights. Shout out to Troy. Crooked with the straights. Now, got to take the crooked with the straights. Shout out to my people who watch fences. You know what I'm saying? You got to take the crooked with the straights. But you have let your team down on multiple occasions. And what I can appreciate is that you take ownership for what you've done bad. Dropping balls. Hey, I should have came up with that. But you got to be careful. Because only the best of the best answer the bell consistently time after time after time. The Michael Irvins, the Jerry Rices of the world. The Larry Fitzgeralds. Just the Randy Mosses, the Terrell Owens. I wish he would shut up sometimes, but yeah. So yeah. So all I'm saying is it Sirianni? Is it Jalen? Was it AJ? I mean, all of them can get that blame, baby. You all suck. And I'm fully aware. that your Dallas Cowboys didn't make the playoffs. Fully aware of that. But our offense averaged 30. The defense sucked. So I don't know what actually happens to Nick Sirianni. I don't know how well he's doing with that guy. Is not a, I don't care what y'all say. That guy is not a good coach. His players bail him out quite often. But y'all put below who you think is the problem. It's simple. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, A.J. Brown, whatever. So let's move on to your Green Bay Packers, man. Yeah, hold on, kinfolk. Let me get the right one for them. Yeah, that's for your Green Bay Packers. Now, what I can say is thank you so very much. Due to your great efforts in collapsing in a playoff game, your Dallas Cowboys get the 12th pick and the 20th pick. Who's to blame for this loss? That is the question. Green Bay Packers versus your Chicago Bears. Who is the reason for that loss? Let me remind you of a few things. Matt Lafleur has been the coach of the Green Bay Packers for 7 years now. He's been around since 2019. Young gun coach, all the promise in the world. You have the tail end of Aaron Rodgers, and you do nothing with it. Let's be clear, you do nothing with it. Then you have Jordan Love coming up the rear. Was a young protege. One thing that I got to give the Green Bay Packers credit for, because nobody's talking about it, how they are the best in the game at developing quarterbacks. Period. Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, and did y'all happen to see Malik throwing the ball? They all throw the ball the same way. It's like now he's got a little zip on it. He kicking the leg out when he's throwing the ball. Like, how are they able to develop these quarterbacks like this? It should be studied. But Matt Lafleur should also be fired. Like I said, Matt Lafleur been coaching for 7 years now. Ben Johnson, high-flying, dynamic offensive coordinator, came over from the Detroit Lions. We've seen what happened to that offense in a year where they didn't have him. Dan Campbell's looking like a shell of himself. Ben Johnson, oh, no big deal. Just actually made the playoffs. First-year coach. Oh, they actually make it to the playoffs and win a playoff game. Detroit Lions are sitting at home. He's King Petty because he mimics the same thing that Matt Lafleur does when they beat them earlier in the season. Not super early in the season. I think it was like week 13 or 14 or something like that. Is it Jordan Love's fault or is it Matt LaFleur's fault? Mind you, Jordan Love, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Still lose the game. Here's the reality. Players are always going to rise and fall off the backs of coaching. Coaches coach, players play. So as a quarterback, if I go out there and give you 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, no fumbles, no incredibly terrible sacks, no interceptions, how do I come away at home with the loss? How do I come away at home with the loss? It's unacceptable. Here's another fact. Here's a fun fact about the last 2 times that the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears played. Green Bay gave up 44 points combined in the fourth quarter and in overtime. I don't care if Matt Lafleur is not a defensive coach. If your quarterback is putting you in a position to win as a head coach, you have the final say-so and authority to dictate what happens or doesn't happen late in a game. 44 points, and let me break that down. 25 or 26 of those points were given up on Sunday. 25, 26, I think it was 25. 25 points in the fourth quarter on Sunday. That's despicable. And then I think they gave up like 13 in the fourth quarter in week like 15, and then in overtime 6. That's preposterous to give up that many points to a rival in a must-have game. So Ben Johnson in his first season successfully beats Matt Lafleur, hot shot coach, 2 out of 3 times, including a playoff victory. It's time to get them papers, baby. It's time to move on. And then the question is going to start becoming, is Jordan Love ever going to be able to consistently be the quarterback that you need him to be? The last couple of years, I drafted him in fantasy, of course, and he hasn't helped me not one bit. He's incredibly inconsistent, and he gonna throw you a pick. All you gotta do is ask. He'll throw you a pick. So Jordan Love, who made it to a NFC championship, am I wrong? NFC championship 2 years ago? Now, I get it. We could say, well, you got to give Matt Lafleur credit for making it to the NFC championship. For sure. Whatever. But you don't lose to a rookie head coach with an unproven quarterback, no matter how talented he may be. They dictated and controlled this game. Do you not realize that in the last 2 games, Packers versus the Bears trailed the entire game until the fourth quarter? You realize that, right? So you bought the bottle of beer at 11:45. Yeah. It's movie references. You got to catch up on these movie references. But anyway, I think Matt Lafleur, I think his time is come and gone. See, because when you have a coach like Raheem Morris, who didn't get an opportunity to make any mark in Atlanta, and then they're already interviewing John Harbaugh, you got to be kidding me. But Matt Lafleur can, and here's the difference. Harbaugh has at least won a Super Bowl. I don't care how long ago it was. He's at least won a Super Bowl. Lafleur ain't won nothing. But we get to discuss if he's gonna be around for the future. Yes, Jordan Love endorsed him, but most professionals would endorse their quarterback. Would endorse their coach. But Matt Lafleur losing to a first-year head coach, losing to a very inconsistent. Let's not forget Caleb Williams is very inconsistent himself. He's had a lot of "what are you doing" moments. So to lose to a guy that's never made it to the playoffs, let alone won a playoff game. Jordan Love has won at the highest level. Not a Super Bowl, but he's won in the playoffs. Put a 40 burger on the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all can't beat Caleb Williams. You acquired Trevon Diggs with his one play, and he was playing 15 yards off the receiver, and then the receiver still tripped over him. I don't know what's going on there. You got Michael Parsons. I mean, he got hurt. Rest up. What's the problem? Matt Lafleur's the problem. You got to go, buddy. So we move on. Let's look at the playoff picture. Let's discuss the playoff picture. All right. Now I will say this, and I don't have this previously recorded, or nothing like that. So you don't have to believe me. But I am successfully 5-0 in calling these games so far. I'm 5-0. And I have the Texans winning. There's no reason that the best defense in the NFL should lose to a 49-year-old quarterback. It just shouldn't happen. I don't give a crap. People talking about DK Metcalf being back as if he was throwing them touchdowns and all this crap before he got suspended for 2 games. A part of DK's frustration is he can't get him the ball. He caught a slant and took it 80 yards one week, and he had to work for that. He's the most athletic guy on the field, and Aaron Rodgers can't get him the ball consistently because the offense is garbage. So anyway, I digress. The Rams versus the Panthers. The Rams pull it out 34-31. I thought they was going to lose that game. That got me thinking differently about the Rams, because I was thinking it was going to be Rams versus New England Patriots or something like that, But they got it done. It don't even matter. The Panthers, you got to be impressed by them. I say kudos to them, but the Rams pull it out. We just talked about Packers versus Bears. Bears win 31-27. Take the lead, score 25 points, do their thing. Bills versus the Jaguars. Bills versus Jaguars. The Bills pull it out 27-24 to win that game on a late pick from Trevor Lawrence. Now, let me tell you this statistic. Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence with darn near the same statistics. Trevor Lawrence, 18 for 30, 207 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 30.2 QBR. 30.2 QBR. Worse than Jalen Hurts, who threw for less than 200 yards. Eagles versus San Francisco 49ers. 49ers pull it out 23-19. AJ Brown got Butterfingers. Hey, and I'm going to tell you another thing. AJ Brown be terrified to go over that middle now. A lot of those balls that he ends up coming short on, it's because he don't want to go across the middle. You say what you want to say. Let me tell you what my eyes see. And then we have the Patriots defeating your San Diego Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, whatever they are these days, 16-3. The battle of Justin Herbert versus Drake May. When are we going to be real about Justin Herbert? Is anybody willing to be honest about who Justin Herbert actually is? Somebody called him a social media quarterback. People got all up in arms. He's a social media quarterback. He's cool. He got all the commercials. Awesome. He doesn't win. He's supposed to be superior talent, all of that. Justin Herbert gave up a 28-point lead against the guy who's very inconsistent himself in Trevor Lawrence. Let's not forget about that. Justin Herbert just lost to a second-year quarterback in Drake May. We have to start being honest about who this guy is. Can he make great throws? Sure. Did I see a lot of promise after what he did in Sao Paulo and all of that against the Kansas City Chiefs first game of the season? Yes, I was impressed by it. And I thought that was going to be a turning over, not a changing of the guard, because Patrick Mahomes is here to stay. But I thought that was going to be a turning point in his career to say, hey, I'm here to stay. Justin just cool, man. He's not mind-blowing as a quarterback. He just all right. Now, the league may get lucky because Patrick Mahomes may not be fully healthy and ready to go again. But as long as that dude's healthy, he's spectacular. He's amazing. He's a savant. He is one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen. And Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow was hurt for most of the season. This is all going to be your opportunities, or was your opportunities, to show what you can do in the absence of the greatest quarterback of y'all's generation. So now, Josh Allen, you get to go to New England. No. They go to Denver. Another quarterback, great defense, questionable skill set. Let's see how you perform. Whoever wins this game tonight, they are the ones who actually go on to play the number one seed. No. Drake, no, they go on to play the Patriots. I think Denver's number one seed. I'm sorry. That's my fault. 16-hour day. It is what it is. But anyway, my final pick. So just for those of you who may not know, Rams, Bears, Bills, 49ers, Patriots all got a dub today. I mean, got a dub in their playoff game. The Texans are up 16-6 in the fourth quarter. 11 minutes left. Stick a fork in them, baby. They're done. Now, let me be very clear. I was one who said, oh, wait, the Texans got that off of a fumble recovery. Sacked. Aaron Rodgers got sacked, fumbled the ball. They give up a touchdown. To Will Anderson, who, after they drafted their quarterback, talking about the Houston Texans, after they drafted their quarterback, CJ Stroud, they traded back into the first round to get Will Anderson. Now it's working in their favor. If CJ Stroud could ever put it together somehow, whatever that looks like for him, the Houston Texans could go win it all. Not because they got amazing running backs and receivers, but because they have the best defense and a quarterback that should be further along than what he actually is. So anyway, I'm looking forward to Aaron Rodgers hitting the bricks. With that being said, let's move on. Last thing. This is the last thing. Like I said before, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. George Pickens not only was a top yard getter, he was a top touchdown getter this year. He had more yards and touchdowns than Jamar Chase. Didn't have more receptions. They literally had no choice but to force feed Jamar Chase the ball. That doesn't take away from what he was able to do with the receptions. But if we're really judging this based off of what we saw on the field, not popularity, not if you're not because you don't like the personality of the receiver. And that's the thing that I don't like about having voters who either had no skill set or ability to play the game in which they are actually voting on, whether that's for Hall of Fame, whether that's for first team All Pro, because otherwise Heisman's vote on the Heisman. You know what I'm saying? They have a vote, you can't justify why George Pickens is second team All Pro. You just can't. I don't care if he has 10 more yards. I don't care if he has 2 more touchdowns. You outperformed in most major statistical categories. Here's the thing. I guarantee you, if you go look up the numbers, Jamar Chase also had games where they were like, is he playing today? George Pickens had one against the Eagles. No, I'm sorry. Earlier in the season, the first game against the Eagles, he wasn't, he wasn't really targeting him like that. Ryan Dakota wasn't really targeting him like that. But the Lions game, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he looked like he didn't want to play football. But somehow I rise. So all I'm saying is we got to stop taking the emotionality out of it. We got to stop saying, well, he's not my type of personality. Athletes, former athletes, have an ability to look at players and judge them by what they do or don't do on the field efficiently. Not if they shook my hand. Not if they smiled when I see them. Not if they were a great interview. And those type of dynamics have to go away from professional sports. The maturity has to return. And there needs to be an ability by sports pundits and journalists to be able to see it for what it is. You and the movie references. Hey, I live life 1/4 mile at a time. Shout out to Dang Fast and Furious. Dom Toretto. If you're not first, you're last. But anyway, literally, if it's movies or music, I'm gonna probably use it to explain something. But anyway, y'all, this is one of my shorter shows. I'm leaving a little time on the clock. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm beat. I'm fighting here. Can I for a quick second? I don't know if everybody on here is subscribed, but can I say this? I love what I do, and that's why I'm here right now. I love sports. I love God. I love entertainment. That's why I'm here. If you are not a regular to this channel, to this show, to this network, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. I do a lot of work to show up for you guys. And listen, you don't have to if you don't want to. You can tell me to shut my face. You feel me? But I would appreciate it. I'm tired. I'm going to go home, rub my feet together, and go to sleep and celebrate Aaron Rodgers sucking balls and getting out the playoffs. Listen, man, we'll be back on Wednesday with Church Flow, and we talking about mega church madness. We got to get into it. It's a lot of things going on in the church space, and so I look forward to you tuning in. As I end every show, life is hard enough, so please don't just live elevated. Until next time, I love you. May the Lord keep you. I'll see you at the next show. Peace. God, faith, family. Best Man Holiday is so overrated. That's such a regular movie. I won't argue with y'all, but Best Man Holiday is such a regular movie. It's not really entertaining if I'm being honest. And then they came out with that what is it? What was it? The miniseries. It was cool, but Best Man Holiday is so. Listen, the wife dying, that scene at the casket, like knock it off, bro. That was some of the worst acting for Morris Chestnut ever. Him delivering the baby at the end, it's goofy. Like, listen, some stuff we got to leave alone. It's like Coming to America too, kinfolk. Leave that alone. Let me alone now. Don't make me watch this. Don't make me do this to you. But anyway, that casket scene, you know what I'm saying? That casket scene was terrible. You want to lose your job? We still got to finish that one. But yeah, that casket scene was horrible. Come on, man. I watched this dude die on TV. I thought Ricky was dead for 10 years when I was a kid. Then you give me that scene? Knock it off. Anyway, man, I love y'all, man. Y'all come tune in, man. We have a lot of fun on network, man. Y'all be easy. Why now? You'll lose your job.